Hey everyone, Tankenstein here. Some big news in War Thunder today. We are getting a brand new game mode. That's right. Interestingly enough, we are getting a brand new game mode seemingly out of nowhere. Although, of course, credit where credit's due, the European Canadian did mention this as being a possible game mode a few days ago, and it is being called Suppression of Enemy Air Defenses. And in this video, I'll be going over everything that you need to know about it, and also show you some gameplay in the background. That way you can actually see what it's all about. Now, that being said, this will be running from April 22nd at 11 GMT through April 24th at 11 GMT, and can be accessed through the hangar, through events and tournaments, and right there you'll just see Suppression of Enemy Air Defenses. Voila, that's it. Now right now there are only two sides, the American and the Russian side, or the USSR side, and you can only have access to 2 American vehicles and 1 Russian vehicle. So basically on the American side, you are the attacking side, and you have to use either the F4E2, or Phantom 2 rather, or the AH-1F. And basically you have to destroy S-75 SAM positions, but they're also defended with Shilkas, which can do quite a bit of damage, as one could imagine. Now, there are also radar dishes as well that you will need to destroy, so it's a pretty comprehensive thing. Now, those S-75s will take you out of the sky. They are no joke, and they can be kind of difficult to hit when you have MiG-21 BISs, which the USSR side can only be using, and also, of course, the S-75s firing at you. It's not a very easy thing, because currently there are no, for example, harm missiles, which kind of sucks. Now, interestingly, even though the F4E Phantom 2 does not have any sort of guided weaponry, the AH-1F does have ATGMs, which can be pretty nice, I would imagine. I've not had really much luck with the AH-1F yet, but they can do quite well, especially if you can sneak in. But, of course, they are much slower than the F4E Phantom 2, so there's a lot of trade-offs here. Now, again, the Russian side does have access to the MiG-21 BIS. Interestingly, as of right now, they only have access to R3R missiles and the R13M1 missiles. So there's not really all too much. They don't have access to the R60s, R60Ms, nothing like that. And another kind of quirk of this, and I'll kind of go over this in just a second, some more improvements that I think could be made. You do not see the enemy. Like, it doesn't pop up like in Air RB where, you know, there's like a name tag and all that above them. You actually have to find the enemy, like a little dot of the enemy, and you have to find them. And that goes for the attacking side and the defending side. So it's kind of like Sim in that way, but you don't have to fly in the cockpit. It's more of an Air RB, Air AB sort of point of view, but with some Sim elements to it, which is kind of interesting, kind of cool. But again, I'll go over that in just a moment. Now, you might be wondering, are there any rewards for this? Unfortunately not. However, I can say in my limited time playing this, I actually had quite a bit of RP going towards a much higher level vehicle when using the MiG-21 BIS that I was really surprised. You also get some SL for it as well. So you do get RP and SL, which is kind of interesting. Nothing crazy. You don't get like any sort of special decals or anything like that. But that being said, let's just kind of go over some event features. I'll just read this off exactly as is. It says, the gameplay in this event is asymmetrical. One team attacks and the other defends. This requires you to adapt to different roles and strategies. There's no markers in this mode, so you'll not see enemy markers on your map. Use your aircraft systems and piloting skills to find and destroy the enemy. Now, when I was using the MiG-21 BIS, that thing, at least on the Afghanistan map, picks up mountains like no one's business. So it is extremely difficult to use your radar in that game mode. So you pretty much, what I did, I relied on my ears and my eyes, and that's how I got, I think, 2 or 3 kills. Now it says, each player has 3 respawns, giving both teams the flexibility to experiment with tactics, and giving the attacking players the ability to use different types of vehicles. For the first time in an air mode, the attacking team has access to both helicopters and planes, offering unique opportunities in coordinating attacks to take out enemies from afar and support friendly planes. All players that have an aircraft of rank 5 or higher in their hangar can participate in this event. The vehicles that you use in the event are automatically assigned and do not need to be purchased. Vehicles have the spawn cost in Silver Lions, which will be refunded if the plane is not destroyed when the mission ends or if you exit the plane in the safe exit zones. The amount of refunded SL depends on the condition of the aircraft. Safe exit zones become available for aircraft once all the weapons of a certain type have been expended. If you have spawned in with air-to-ground weaponry, you'll need to use all of it. Air-to-air missiles are not taken into account, however, if you have spawned in with just air-to-air missiles, so you'll need to use all of them. Well, rather, however, if you spawned in with just air-to-air missiles, you'll need to use all of them. So if you have a mix of air-to-ground and air-to-air weaponry, you have to use all your air-to-ground, but if you only have air-to-air missiles, like for example with the MiG-21 BIS that they give you, you have to use all of them. So that kind of makes some level of sense, I suppose, but it's a little bit weird. But basically, air-to-ground supersedes air-to-air, so if you have air-to-ground, use all those, and then you can exit via the safe zones. But if all that you have is air-to-air, then you have to use all your air-to-air missiles, or possibly, I guess, drop them from your plane, then maybe you could leave these safe zones. Now, it says here, as I said before, you'll be able to earn research points and SLs by taking part in the event. Now, they say here it is just the beginning. When using this event as a testing ground for ideas that we plan to use in future large-scale modes, this scenario will be one of the missions in the aerial warfare operations, one of which will feature in the Future of World War mode. In aerial warfare, players will only have access to aircraft. Ground vehicles will be AI, and the focus will be on aerial combat and the completion of strategic objectives. We'll tell you more about aerial warfare at a later date. Now, actually, that kind of led me to a point I was going to make. I don't really know if it'd be a good idea, but one thing that I did notice is that it would be kind of interesting if there were more vehicles that people could use, and to an extent, they kind of just clear this up, but I kind of wish that you could use some SPAA. Now, to what extent, I'm not entirely sure. You know, for example, like, you're not going to use, like, the HQ-1 or something like that. Like, that would totally rip apart the F4E2. So I'm not really entirely sure to what extent that's even possible. Possibly only like let people use like gun-based SPAA. I'm not entirely sure. And the thing is too, and this kind of brings me to another point, these maps are absolutely huge thus far. They are operation-sized maps for the most part. At least I feel that way. And so my concern is that they take a long time to complete. I think it took me like 40 minutes to complete 2 or 3, not even 3 matches, like 40 to 50 minutes to complete 2 matches. Like, it is not a quick thing. So I'm kind of concerned with that. It makes some level of sense. Again, this is almost kind of like a mix between Sim and RRB, so it makes some level of sense, but at the end of the day too, it's just a little bit, I'm not entirely sure. Like, I personally wish that these matches were a little bit shorter, but it is what it is. And also, I do kind of wish that there were airfields, not just like safe exit zones, but rather airfields. I feel like that would benefit this a little bit at least. But hey, you know, there is plenty of time to work on this in the future. But for right now, I feel like this is a very exciting sort of game mode. I mean, to be honest with you, I've already gotten my fill of it. I played a few matches. I feel like it's pretty cool, but there is definitely still a lot of work that needs to be done on it. It is what it is, but I feel like this is a really good step forward, and you know, more game modes in War Thunder is just better for everybody. Seriously, you know, I really wish that they had added convoy mode. Hopefully they do that in the future. There was convoy mode in the past, but hey, if they're going to be adding a SEAD mode, that is really, really cool as well, and I'd be stoked for it, and I'd be really interested to see if this is kind of like going to be an alternative to just random battles. You know, it kind of seems like it is, because you do get RP and SL like you would in regular random battles, but as of right now, it is a very slow-paced game mode, so we'll have to wait and see. Either way, thanks so much for watching. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Consider subscribing if you like this kind of content. I will be releasing more news and reviews and all that sort of thing in the future, but again, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you all on the other side. Take care, everyone.